Boom. All right, welcome to the Soscast, episode 65. This is where finance meets romance, only here on Valuetainment, the #1 channel on the planet for entrepreneurs. And we got some entrepreneurs in the building. If you don't know, now you know. My name is Adam Sosnick. A lot of my friends call me Sos, and we're here to make sure that you entrepreneurs increase your status, your financial status, your relationship status. We want to see you win in life. And what do we say, Nat? We want to see you get paid, laid, and do it your way. Boom, we in the house. So anyway, today we're going to have a conversation about what's going on in the world, hip-hop, feminism, masculinity, money, relationships. We're going to cover an array of topics. And I think we have a sick... Should have brought some. Could have brought... I mean, Deli is dealing right now. Deli's holding. Okay. My dude. But anyway, that might be the perfect intro for who our guests are today. We have a full-on celebrity hostess in the house. Yesjulz. She is an influencer. She's a host. She's an entrepreneur. She's never not working. Forbes 30 under 30, I believe, a few years ago. And she just gets shit done. Is there anything I missed on that?
No.
A new mother.
Yes, absolutely. The most important thing.
Raspy voice.
Raspy. I was clearly smoking on the way here.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm
no
excited
problem,
to be here.
Jules. We've known each other for, I don't know, 5, 7. I don't know. Whenever you were doing parties at the Delano is when we met.
When was the first time we met? Because I feel like the first time we ever met, you like interviewed me on the spot. I feel like.
That's what I do, Jules. But I had met you before that, but you were probably high, drunk in the club. You don't remember that.
No, I didn't.
You used to do parties at... What was the club they used to have under the Delano?
FDR.
At FDR.
Yes, legendary.
And you had Norma
now. Yeah,
exactly.
She did some parties with us.
We had linked up. It was like NBA All-Star Weekend. I had some NBA friends in town. We collaborated. I don't know. But anyway, that was a long time ago.
I can't even, it's all a blur.
It's all a blur. All right. But I'm happy you're on. So we also got Stevie.knight in the house. Massive YouTube presence. Social commentator. Talks hip-hop, talks red pill relationships,
all that.
And the one shirt.
What's red pill relationship?
Oh, you're about to find out.
Get into it.
I love that Julz doesn't know. It's going to be a great conversation. The fact that you don't know that, because our audience is obviously very familiar with that.
I've been living under a rock for 12 months, so.
It's okay. It's a good time to be under a rock.
But more than anything, I see you wear a shirt proclaiming that you're a masculinist.
Absolutely.
Straight up.
Absolutely.
What does that mean exactly?
I'm just an advocate for male empowerment, because men are in a low spot right now, and we need to instill confidence and positivity in all of us right now, because it's pretty messed. Can I cuss?
Go ahead, Steve.
It's pretty fucked up for a lot of men right now.
Oh, he just got canceled, guys. Turn off the show.
I just realized what this is.
It's pretty fucked up.
What did you realize?
This is a setup.
We got you, Julz. We're in a bank vault.
My team is fired.
We're in a bank vault right now. Lock the doors. Now you can't leave.
No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna have great productive
we're gonna have a great time. We're
actually
gonna get into some real shit today, guys. So if you're listening, this isn't gonna be your typical, typical show. We're gonna cover a lot of topics, some controversial topics. We're gonna get into some of the heart of the matter. Before we do that, this is what we ask all our guests before the show. Real quick, 30 seconds or less. We want to know how you make your money and your relationship status these days. Who would like to go first?
I got a woman. Got a year-old at home right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. The
boy or girl?
Boy.
Nice.
Royal.
Yeah,
Royal Night.
Tatted on the neck just in case you forget one night.
Yeah.
Hangover moment.
Yeah, and the majority of the income is for all social media based, whether it's YouTube, Patreon, merch, streaming. Got money invested in real estate. I think the majority of my equities in real estate, of course, but like cash, liquid, all that stuff is from
And Stevie,
media.
before you got into, YouTube and everything with social media, what were you doing before that?
I worked for the federal government for about 13 years.
Oh. We got a narc in the house, y'all. Put it away.
Yeah. I ain't gonna tell you what I was doing.
Okay, exactly. That's how we know he was CIA. DEA.
Nah, but I did that for about 13 years, and it was like a smooth transition into this. The birth of my son gave me the opportunity to be at home with the girl, and I got to balance real world with the social media world. And once I saw how much productivity I was getting from social media, I cut the cord with that shit real quick. So yeah, and I hated being there too. I was like in prison, you know what I'm saying, to that federal check. And then being exposed to this is like a whole new world, and it happened pretty quick, like three years.
Crazy.
And how long have you been doing YouTube, gang?
The music channel popped off like in 2019, where it like jumped up crazy.
Yeah.
And then my night talk, where we talk about like this type of shit, happened like the past like 18 months.
Got it.
Forgive me, what's the music channel?
I just review music.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
It's more than that. I think you got like 600,000 subscribers. You're doing all right.
Yeah.
But you do a lot of commentary. You do a lot of reaction videos. You're doing your thing, bro.
Yeah,
So
appreciate
respect.
you, bro.
Make sure we put the links to Stevie's channels. What is it? Night Talk and Stevie Knight.
Stevie Knight.
I'm
Night
so
Talk.
mad I didn't
And
look
then-
this up before I came. I'm so sorry.
Julz, you're
That's all
good,
good.
baby. Stop apologizing. You're a beast. Yes, Julz, let's make sure that we have her YouTube link below, and for sure her Instagram, which is, I know that you're like on Instagram big time. You're also like sort of the queen of Snapchat, in my opinion. Not even my opinion. I think you call yourself that. I think that's where I got that.
No, that was a long time ago.
Okay.
I'm like barely active on Snap, but I'm on. They're actually doing a lot of fun stuff right now, so I need to
Snap.
start snapping more.
Okay. So, Julz, how you making your money these days? Relationship status. You just had a kid. Fill us in on what you got going on right now.
I have a beautiful baby girl. She's 7 months old now.
What's her name?
River Jo Riley.
River
That's
Jo.
Wow.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, my mom's name is Johanna. So, yeah, and I'm engaged to the love of my life, Duke. And we're just learning and growing. It's like my first time really, it's a big transition for me. Right now, it's a big transition as far as how I'm making my money. I have my marketing, event production, and consultancy agency. We did a lot of cool projects this year. Whatever, we could get into another time. But yeah, and we have some cool stuff coming up for Art Basel. So if
Which
anybody's
is
gonna be here-
in, was it December 1st? It's coming up.
December 1st through the 10th.
Are we in November now?
Yes.
Shit.
November.
All right. Well, we got 30 days out.
I do.
Holy
I see.
moly.
Okay, so in terms of money, I know you talk about investments a
Yeah.
lot. So I'm a big fan of Web3. I'm still diamond hand on all my projects. Haven't sold anything.
Wow.
And yeah, I have over 41 projects. 90% of those all being woman led. Shout out to World of Women. And yeah, I'm watching you to see what I need to be doing with my
Okay.
money next.
Well, I'm watching you with that Web3.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep an eye on those women that you got going on right there. That's for sure. Well, respect. Thank you guys for being here. But let's start off with. We're just gonna get right into it.
Let's
So
do
we're
it.
not even gonna like BS.
Yeah.
So I want to understand. You talk about hip hop a lot. You're very big in the hip hop scene. You were like, you did a vlog last year at Rolling Loud. You were interviewing all the people there. Like, you're very much in the hip hop world. And my question is right now, and I love hip hop. My first job out of college was in radio, Clear Channel Radio down here. That was now iHeartMedia, Y100, everything that's like, I love music. I love hip hop. But this week it made me be like, what the fuck is happening with hip hop, right? So why are hip hop rappers continually ending up shot and dead? Like, why does this continually happen? We just saw Takeoff, one of the 3 members of Migos. I'm a fan of Migos.
Yeah.
Bad and Bougie, we all know that. Like, killed in Houston. And I don't want to say happy, but I'd be comfortable with the fact that if it was just like a one and done thing. But it's not that way. Okay? I was a big fan of Pop Smoke, all right? Shot, dead. XXX, shot, dead. Young Dolph.
Young
A few
Dolph.
years ago, one of the biggest guys in the game when it comes to hip hop and money was Nipsey Hussle. Okay, so this is a continual thing. When I was a kid in the late 90s, nobody's bigger than Tupac and Biggie. Are you East Coast or you West Coast? You West Coast? I was East Coast, Miami, all right? And then the nicest guy in hip hop, Run DMC, their DJ, Jam Master Jay, shot and killed. So it's like, I feel like this is a question that is well warranted, and I feel like you guys are completely capable of answering this question. But this doesn't happen in other genres. Like, we live in Miami. I go to Ultra every year. You know, Tiesto and Cascade aren't catching beef. Like, that ain't a thing. Like, in the reggaeton world, there's no beef in that. Pop, Justin Bieber and Justin Timberlake aren't catching beef. Like, you know, even in country music, and when you talk about Second Amendment, I'm a two-way guy. Like, that is country music. I got my 12 gauge, I got my shotgun, but like, Trace Atkins ain't shooting nobody.
Yeah.
So what the hell is going on here? Why does this continue to happen? But most importantly, what can be done about it? Stevie, why don't you go first?
That's a lot to unpack there, man. First of all, it's like monetized, man. You know, the record labels take out insurance policies on artists now because, you know, you have a proper high chance of getting your life taken away being a part of this genre of music now.
Wow, didn't even know that. They take out insurance policies on their investment. Of course.
And then it's the dehumanization of black men, black on black crime. It's like it's glorified, it's praised, you know, it's sexy in some people's eyes. It's sexy to be dangerous, to have a target on your back. You know what I'm saying? Like social media, the men are a lot more emotional now. So you put guns in emotional people's hands, they're likely to pull the trigger that much quicker. You know what I'm saying? There's no fighting, none of this rap beef anymore. And there was never no fist on fist fighting at all to begin with, man. But it's just a lot of emotional men, younger men, impressionable minds, and it's glorified in hip hop music, and you know, it's just an equation for a disaster.
Yeah.
I think I have a problem with the whole black on black crime rhetoric. Like, I honestly feel that we just saw somebody get put in jail for life for the Parkland shooting as well, right? And what was he, white? So I feel like it's crimes happen with those who you're in proximity with. So when you say, you know, when you go into the narrative of like black on black crime, it's just for me like there's nobody ever talks about white on white crime. Nobody ever talks about Latino crime. Like, it's just black on black crime. Why is that?
I get you. It is proximity though. It's two things happening at once, right? Black folks in poverty-stricken areas, we're engaged in the most criminal activity when we're in these settings, right? It's class-based, racial-based. We're all in these groups, in these proximities together, man. So they run hand in hand. But when we are in these settings, black people kill the most, 4 times more than anybody, white, Hispanic, Asian, any of that. It's not like black across the board in America, but when we're in these pockets.
Where are those numbers coming from?
I can pull the phone out for you and show you the statistics, but you know we're responsible for the most deadly crimes, most shootings, most stabbings, most murders, black people within these poverty-stricken areas. It's just both of those run hand in hand, and it ties directly into hip hop music because it's talked about in the music. So you're pretty much brainwashing children, impressionable minds, young black men to engage in this behavior as they grow up. You don't hear about this stuff in. I
understand, but you don't hear about it in country music or pop music because that's not the reality of the artists who are telling their story. You hear about, I cried and, you know, when my boyfriend cheated on me or whatever it is that the trauma that, you know, the stories of these artists are. But when you talk about hip hop, I feel like these are just, you know, you see Kevin Liles like doing interviews for this very thing right now. First of all, there's a mixture between storytelling of like what's actually happening and people speaking on their experiences, but then there's also, you know, I guess what you're referring to, which is like the glorification of said lifestyles, et cetera, which then comes with fabrication. And then there's a whole argument going on about like, you know, when people can tell the truth, can tell the difference between an artist that's telling the truth or an artist that's fabricating things and when courts can use that in certain cases, et cetera. So it's like a lot to unpack, but I feel like, I don't know, like, what do you want people to talk about?
I'm not saying that they should talk about anything. He asked, you know, what's causing it, and if you're going to try to find a point of departure, you know, to focus on, it comes from that, the reality. You know what I'm saying? And we can like focus on the reality and do things to, you know, fix these certain pockets of areas to fix life for these people. But at the end, they are talking about their truth, and at the end of the day, like fabrication, reality, it really doesn't matter because all of it ends up being
perpetuated.
Yeah, it all turns.
Well, here, let me give you some context here because I would be doing disservice to hip hop to say that this has always been a problem because it hasn't. So I'm old enough to remember when hip hop in the 80s and the early 90s was all about fun. Okay, started with the block party. I said a hip hop, the hip, like we all remember like a Rapper's Delight and the Sugar Hill Gang, and it was, you know, even songs like The Message, and even songs like what was his name? Biz Markie. You got what I need. You say like
more positivity
there was
back
no
then.
drama. No one's getting shot up there.
Yeah.
And then even if you want to talk about NWA and the controversy that surrounds them, all right, cool. But they were saying fuck the police.
Absolutely.
They weren't saying yo fuck my neighbor, fuck my homie. Okay. And then even Ice Cube, member of NWA, his most famous breakout hit was "Today Was a Good Day." Like, didn't even have to call the cops today, right? Nobody got shot today. Like, it was a positive message. And then something happened. I think we all know the moment when East Coast, West Coast, Biggie, Tupac, something happened, and it was the green that came with the East Coast, West Coast beef, and then it kind of culminated with Tupac's "Hit 'Em Up." Yeah, I fucked your bitch. Yeah, like, and they're all like, "Oh shit, that's a hit record. Oh my God, we just made millions of dollars. Let's run with it. Let's run with it." So then what happened? And then now, so fast forward to today, right? Every divisiveness is a real thing, whether it's Republicans versus Democrats, East versus West, men versus women, right? All that division, you can monetize division, okay? And then humans are tribal by nature. I'm on the Miami Dolphins team. No, fuck that. I'm a Patriot. Like, yo, Miami Heat. No, bro, New York Knicks. We're tribal by nature. But with hip hop, like, that's the only genre where there's diss tracks, where there's beef tracks, right? Like, you know, Tiesto ain't coming out with an EDM record to fucking diss Benny Benassi or whoever you want to kind of call out. So it's kind of ingrained in the culture, and which is totally fine. Like, I remember when LL Cool J and
Kumo D.
Kumo D too, but LL Cool J caught beef with Cannabis back in the day, and they had a song "Can I Bust?" Second round knockout.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Nobody's getting shot here, and I would have no problem with any of this, whether Tupac's fucking Biggie's. No one cares. But when artists, and I'm saying top echelon, amazing artists, are getting shot and killed at 20 years old, 21 years old, 18 years old, you're losing your life to the game. That's where someone's got to say, all right, like, enough's enough here. And I'm trying to just understand. I don't think we're going to solve it on this podcast.
It's too packed. There's too much in there. It's not just music. It's the culture. It's a lot of toxicity within the culture. Yeah, it's the government. It's them either putting the men in a box or putting them in 6 feet deep. It's so much stuff to unpack there.
There's there's guns are more accessible in certain areas.
Absolutely.
It's like.
But I feel like, you know, you have a major voice in the hip hop community. Like, let's show this picture that I just slacked you. Just to be clear here, like, when I say that Julz is in the know, go down to that picture, Deli, if you would, to the very bottom. Open it. Like, a year ago, you were interviewing Takeoff at Rolling Loud.
That's
You're
hard.
interviewing.
If I'm gonna be honest,
Honcho.
the fact that this was the first, I've had a really, it's been a hard week.
Yeah.
You know, and today was the first day that I actually like felt that I had enough energy to like put effort into my hair and my makeup and like want to come and you know, leave my house and do something, because it does become, it's just back to back to back.
Yeah.
You know, at this point I'm 32, like the past 10 years has been filled with whether it's these instances or overdoses, etc. And yeah, it's clear, like, we're in the midst of a violent drug and violence epidemic. And it's like, I just, you know, I'm not obviously that close, but we can all feel, like, you can feel the heaviness this week of even people that weren't that close with Takeoff or have never even met him can see the type of light that he was, is. And, you know, for, you know, and just the interview, his last interview and him just dropping this tape and being at the place where he was in his career. And it's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. And it's like, yeah, what can we do? Like, that was at first it's shock and it's sadness. And then, you know, kind of like the anger sets in. And then I'm a solution-based person. So I have been over the past like 24 to 48 hours been trying to like wrap my head around what is next, you know, how can, you know, what could I do? What can my friends do, etc. And then I was like excited to come here to honestly to like have a mental break from everything.
Yeah.
So when we went into this, I kind of like froze because I was immediately like, man, I feel petrified, and I feel like there's people who have, think about like Dirk and like people who have literally just been every single year, you know what I mean? Like every multiple times a year you see, and to even think of Quavo, and like, it's just so heartbreaking, you know? It's just
Well,
like,
number one, just more than anything, like, thank you for that real response right there. Like, much love. Like, that was real. That was a real response. Like, I don't know, like, I'm seeing the tears in your eye, but here's how I'm processing this. I think if there was just a apathy, you know, an apathetic response, like, yep, another rapper died. All right, cool. What's up today, guys? That would be the problem. Mm-hmm. The fact that we have to say something because young, talented people are being murdered for BS, you have to say something about it. If not, it would just be like, because there's people out there, believe me, I've been in conversations, and I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to talk about this today. And they're like, yeah, well, whatever. Another rapper got killed. What's the big deal? It's like, no, that's the wrong mindset. That's the mindset that is perpetuating this problem. And as an American that loves music, that's been in the radio business, that loves hip hop, that has a voice, it's just something that I just can't be cool with. So even though it's a money show and a relationship show, I think we can all acknowledge everything that we're talking about with hip hop has to do with money, relationships, clout, all that. Yeah. So it just kind of falls into this. So something's got to be said. I don't want to, bring up stuff, but the point is this, is that Julz, you have a voice.
Mm-hmm. You know what my problem is?
Mm-hmm.
My problem is why, since we're in this big conversation about censorship right now, I'm triggered because when things like this happen, I see replays of things that I've seen, where it's like, why are these videos allowed to be on the internet, but we can't see Ye's Drink Champs interview though? Yeah. Like, there's censorship that comes into play when it wants to come into play, and it's bullshit.
That's how it goes.
I don't think we should see these videos.
Correct.
Yep. Okay, Julz, can I tell you what a profound statement that is right there?
So true, yeah.
We were talking about this the other day about, like, they're going to censor words, okay? And I'm Jewish, and I'm the first one to say, don't censor the guy talking. Don't censor his music. Now, if Adidas and if Balenciaga and brands want to drop him, that's their choice. Mm-hmm. But to silence a voice is disgusting. And I just interviewed Andrew Tate, talk about getting canceled, and we'll talk about that today. But silencing somebody is a very disgusting thing, But at the same time, you'll allow shooting videos to show up, or video games, or movies where you're brrrr, but none of that is censored.
Movies, all of these things are different arguments. It's a very clear, simple issue that needs to be solved, that literally these platforms could solve, like, in an instance, is someone's last moments alive should not ever be distributed for entertainment or viewing without the person's family's consent.
Yeah.
Period. Like, there needs to be legislation for this. I don't know where it starts. I'm glad that we're talking about this right now, because I'm going to go look into it and see what we can do, because I think it's a part of oppression. Again, overall, it's a part of the big, like, how are these things and child pornography and all these other things allowed to be on the internet, but
it's the powers that be, man.
But I think the problem even
starts.
Watch myself. I think the problem
bad.
starts even with the people who are taking the video, let alone it being posted. Because I feel like
posting,
once it's posted, it can be expanded and taken anywhere and put anywhere, and at that point, it's out. But I think the first problem is, like, how can you be at a crime scene and your first thought is, let me get this on video? Because then those people come from a side of, oh, well, I'm going to sell this video.
People wouldn't care to get the video if it wasn't allowed up on the platforms.
Correct. But I think they're being, like, those videos is what, Like they're selling it. They're selling it to the platforms. And I think that's where part of the problem comes from, is that people feel like they can be the newsbreaker. They can be the clout that everybody wants to chase. They're the source that people want.
And it's a deep topic because there are a lot of, like, in the instance of George Floyd, for example, you might want to be grateful that there was somebody there to provide that evidence, because as we know, we couldn't count on our law enforcement to do the right thing. So in certain times, there are, I guess, there can be arguments for it, but I just feel that there has to be some sort of like middle ground. And yeah, when to speak to your point, people are sick. But I'm glad that there was that video so that those cops could get what they deserved, because otherwise it would be their word against everyone else's and nothing to.
Correct, but in the sense that, well, in the defense of the police, don't police also have cop cams? So wouldn't that be a camera? But okay, well, it's still a camera that's there in a place of emergency. I would like to think that the cameras on the police should be accessible and viewable, and then that's what we're using to determine what comes down the outcome. Because somebody who takes out their phone, like, that's not only dangerous, it's promoting danger for society.
Yeah, it is.
It's promoting let me make sure I go because I can get it on camera.
I'm just playing devil. I think it's disgusting. I literally tweeted the other day, there's a special place in hell for people who record those types of things, and also those who share them and reshare them.
You ever seen that? Look, I think we're all guilty. You ever seen there's fight videos like, oh, this guy got knocked out. Let me watch.
It's why World Star
exists. Of course, World Star. But I'll tell you what video I think is the most memorable one. These two kids are fighting in the middle of the street. Teenage kids, whatever. Group of kids surrounding them, and they all got their phones, laughing, clowning. Two black guys, two black kids. Guy shows up out of nowhere, black guy, older guy, and he's like, y'all ain't fighting. Put the phone. You ever seen this video? I see if you can find it. Maybe we get the cover of this. Just say, I would just on YouTube, just say guy interrupts two kids fighting. Let's see and just see what happens. And he says, I'm not leaving here in the middle of the street until you guys shake hands. And they're like, fuck you, we're about to fight. And he's like, no, we're gonna shake hands. YouTube, not Google. And he's like, look at everyone around you. Look at everyone. They all got their phones. They're all laughing at you two. They want to see a fight. They want to film this. They're getting off on this. You guys think that you're fighting. You're the clowns in the show.
It's the reason why novellas are popular and reality TV is a thing. It's because human nature is to want to compare yourself to something that you feel makes your life feel like it's not so fucked up.
Yeah.
I just think it's the world we live in, man. Everything's just toxic and poisonous, and all that stuff gets the views, it gets the money. You know what I'm saying?
So
and these big ass companies got all the money they're gonna pump in to force their agendas and make sure we see the crazy shit on TikTok and
that's why ownership is so important, and that's why it's I mean, you guys own this building, right? You guys are producing content. You're hosting multiple shows a day. Like I think it takes accountability. In the individual, I think individuals need to elevate and people need to work on themselves and get to a better place where we're coming up from a place of love and peace and no longer sick with needing to be entertained with these things.
Yeah, I agree. By the way,
is
that's the video right there. Are we allowed to play this? I don't know. Producers, are we allowed to play the video? Is that going to be a problem? You can play it? Do it in 2x speed if we can.
Like that. Tommy,
you see that?
If Tommy's watching this, Tommy, he's answering questions in the headphones.
So here are these kids fighting, guys. All right? Here they're fighting in the middle of the street. Dude rolls up. He's like, no. Or play it now.
You really upset. You really upset. You more mad than he is. I can see it in your face.
Yeah,
you
I've
fighting
seen
him. He only fighting you because you want to fight him.
Yeah.
Right.
He just came out the car.
All right, cool. We got the point. But the point is, this guy had nothing to do with this thing. And he's like, I don't want OGs. Guys, I don't want you fighting in the middle of the street. He starts talking. Look around you. That was the most powerful part. The kids didn't want to shake hands. But he's like, look at everyone filming you. They're clowning you guys. They're mocking you guys. They're literally laughing, and they're like, ha, 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 ha. It's like, this is what you want. So I think, like, not to get all like geopolitical, but this is what I think hip hop can learn, is that you know the crabs in the bucket analogy?
Yeah.
You familiar with this? So if crabs are in a bucket and one crab is trying to get out of the bucket, the other crabs will grab him from getting out just to see that other crab not succeed and get freedom.
Yeah.
And the beauty of America and the beauty of capitalism is that the bigger and bigger the pie gets, the more you can take. Go get your piece of the pie. You know, just because someone is doing well doesn't mean that you can't do well. We can all do well. Okay? So I think that's kind of part of it.
That's a big problem. I don't know the other genres, other communities. That's a big problem in the black community is that when you see people succeed, they try to take you down.
But where does that come from?
I
Where does that
have no
jealousy
idea where that
come
comes from, man. Like, we are our own worst enemy. Real shit. Like, there's none of this, you know, bringing us up together, getting us all, you know,
This is what I will
reach
say.
these higher heights, man. But like, you know, Takeoff is probably one of the reasons why his life is no longer here, but on some hating shit. Outside of the gang related type of stuff, but a lot of hating in the black community, the hip hop community, where you see people out here winning, you know, flossing, whatever the fuck. That's why you don't wear that shit out there, because you got haters. And the black community are the number one people to be doing that shit.
Brother, I'm so glad that you're the one saying this, because I think that's something we all recognize. But if it came from a white guy like me, you'd be like, oh, Adam's racist.
Yeah, I get it.
It's like, come on, bro. Yeah. Like, but it is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
And is this something that you've experienced? Because you've done well for yourself. You're successful.
Yeah. But
do people hate on you because, like, black guys?
From afar, but like, my circle is cool. But, you know, I can see it in other friends that I have, other successful people, and then that stuff you see on TV or movies or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can see that.
JFK was assassinated. Like, people been hating on people since Julius Caesar.
Yeah, but Julz,
absolutely. But you gotta add context to everything, man. You know what I'm saying? That's an exception. If you compare the amount of hatred that other communities hate on their people compared to how much black people do it, it's
a lot higher.
I think Julz, you have to admit that is I appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, MLK was murdered, JFK was murdered. Like, these are famous figures, and that's a whole nother conversation. That if you're a disruptor, whether you're JFK or Bobby Kennedy or Lincoln or any of these guys, you're gonna have.
And these are like high profile.
High profile.
You know, saying you got.
But I'm talking about just general people. You know, there's exceptions and there's rules, and you're saying these are your words.
It's definitely the rule with you know, success within the black community. Men specifically. I don't know about the females, but men absolutely. That's why you don't go in the hood or go home with all your stuff out, man. You're gonna find leeches and haters trying to take advantage of you. I don't know how that presents itself in other communities, but it definitely does in the
Final
black
thought
community.
real quick. So I do a podcast on this side of the room with our CEO, Patrick Bet David, and everyone thinks he's Jewish, Bet David, because Ben, anything with B-E-N, Ben, means the son of, okay? And I know a lot of Jews who are so-and-so, Ben, so-and-so, so-and-so, Ben, whatever. But he's Bet David. So people think he's Jewish, but he's not. He's Persian, Iranian, Assyrian, and Middle Eastern, okay? But so people identify him as Jewish. So he had a clip that just goes viral, and he says, you know what I love about Jewish people? And he was basically talking about his own culture, about how Assyrians kind of have that same issue. They kind of hate on each other. He's Assyrian saying that about Assyrians. He goes, but what I love about Jews is when one Jew is successful, all his people benefit from that. And he wants the 5 Jews around him to prosper. And I'm Jewish, and I feel that. I feel like, yeah, bro, what's up? Like, it's not like I like you better because you're Jewish. It's like you just want to see your people win. That's all it is.
We all eat.
We all eating out here. And I think whether you're black, Latino, Assyrian, man, female, I don't give a shit. The worst thing you can be is a hater.
Yeah.
And I've been guilty of hating. Because even before I started YouTube and all that, I've been like, look at this fucking nerd ass motherfucker right here. He's fucking geek ass, like, you know. And then I'd be like, why am I hating on this? I don't know him.
People hate people.
And the
people hate to
reason-
see people doing what they haven't done themselves.
Exactly. And the reason was because I wanted to start doing more YouTube content. I wanted to grow a show, and I'm hating on this fucking nerd who's doing it better than me. But the reality is the guy is a nerd. But I'm using that as like, oh, he's a nerd. But it's like, no, he's killing it. He's got millions of subscribers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I'm like, you know what? Let me appreciate what this guy's doing. Reach out to this person, collaborate. I end up interviewing this person, and next thing you know, I'm like, this fucking nerd is pretty cool.
Yep.
Okay, and that's the problem, is that you're judging out of a place of insecurity, rather than trying to, lift things up for yourself. And I think that's essentially what you're saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, final
But I
word,
think-
Julz. Go ahead.
I think that there's no need for that because we're actually now more than ever in a space of surplus, and it's never been a better time to be a human being. Like, you have access to the internet, we have access to technology. The music business is more profitable and easy. Like, you don't have to spend money to make a song and distribute it. You can upload it and boom, people all over the world can buy your product. This is an unprecedented time. And guess who has most of the market share in music? The hip hop community. So it's actually never been a better time to be a young Black creative. So I think more programs, more arts programs, more access to marketing and financial literacy programs. Like, what are we teaching in schools? Why are we teaching this? Like, let's teach real things that kids right now can apply. These 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds can go home and make music and pop off and support themselves and their entire family. But we're not implementing that in curriculums.
I think it's a really ideal time, but I also think it's probably one of the most dangerous times just because of, like you said earlier, like social media is at an all-time high, drugs are at an all-time high, risk is at an all-time high. So it's like, yes, there is that opportunity to expand and grow, but I think what's really missing is like that mentorship in that community. Like,
Get some role models.
But that's what,
You
role
know?
models, mentorship, 100%.
Because-
And when you go back to the conversation of labels and insurance, and it's a lot to unpack, and
Right.
I could go on for days about this.
Well, here's my final thought.
You don't think they monetize the toxicity of hip hop? Like,
Well,
you take
I was
that
gonna
out, it's
say,
gonna make it.
I
it's
have
gonna
put
dumb it down.
together programs that focus on mentorship and financial literacy, and have offered to even get them paid for and implemented for new artists that are signed to these labels, and
what's
they
the
weren't
pushback?
interested.
Well, why? Do you know why?
Because let's just build our own labels. How about that? I don't want to focus on the things we know why.
Yeah.
We know why. But like,
We know why.
I don't know why.
why.
I'm
Tell me
sorry.
why.
I don't know why.
I don't know why, Julz.
I'm sorry.
You're in the music business.
Yeah. Because to me, that sounds like an opportunity for that community to like change,
Well,
essentially.
I was
the funds of an artist that's no longer with us are easier to control.
The funds of an artist.
not to like name drop, but in my doing music reactions, I'm real cool with Tech Nine, right? And Tech Nine's been rapping for damn near 30 years, and he says that he's had the most success, as much success as anybody could individually. And he said the only thing that was holding him back is he didn't have that record label stamp. It cut his legs from up under him. He's not as big as he should be worldwide.
Might be the one thing that saved him in the long run.
Well, his life maybe, but you know what I'm saying? But as far
What's
as
more important than that?
I mean, he's not tied up in all that stuff too. You know what I'm saying? He's an old head. You know what I'm saying? Like he's been rapping since the late '80s, and he's still popping now. But those record labels, it's a monopoly. It's a mafia. It's like you gotta. It's like fighting Amazon or Apple or anything like that. They got all the money tied up in them.
So here's why I'm so passionate about Web3. We're in the beginning of a new frontier. Like this is bigger. This is as big as a shift as going digital and making it accessible for anyone who had access to a computer to be able to distribute a product with internet. Like
Cuts out the middleman.
Decentralization. No more
Like
agencies.
crypto music industry.
Like no more. I mean, not even in the just for the creative economy. Period. For graphic designers, for artists, for visual artists, vocal artists, directors, you name it. Like whatever it is that you're creating, it's essentially just direct to consumer and direct to community, and community building the economy and overseeing the economy. And that's what, like, ideally, our government becomes decentralized at some point.
It should be, but that's an uphill battle.
This is it. But guess what? This is the beginning of that.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it. I'm with it. Like
Hopefully.
it sounds dope. It's just I'm a realist too, and that's
It's
a
gonna
mountain
take
to
a long
climb, you know
time.
what I'm
Nat,
saying?
you're managing the chats.
Yes.
All right, guys. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, Nat is going to be
Doing the
monitoring
chats.
them.
Give us some good questions for our guests today. We've got a really
Yes.
dope lineup.
But for
Yeah.
the mentorship, before we get off that topic, if there's anybody that's watching this that agrees, like reach out to anybody that was on this panel and let's figure, because it takes doers. Like people talk about mentorship. People have been talking about mentorship for 50 years. You know, I come from like the foster community where I've been getting lectured about mentorship since I was 8 years old in the system. So it's like, we need more people. We know the problems and we know the solutions. We just need more people that are willing to do the work. So I'm willing to do the work. If you're a brand or a person with a platform or have a, 501c3, etc., like let's get some mentorship programs going and just be a part of the solution.
Love that, Julz. Well, can we talk about let's shift gears. We'll stay on music a little bit. All good, guys. I love that. This is something that I think you'll obviously have a lot to say on, to both of you. But today's music, there's a large conversation out there, especially in the hip hop world, but in general, is today's music, female-centric music specifically, is it empowering women or is it crippling women? Let me explain. Okay, so music, has been said, is the most powerful art form in the world. Real talk. Music, like if you go on YouTube, you can give the best speech in the world. Maybe you give, interview, you get 5, 10 million views, what have you. You do a dope song, you'll get 100 million views, billion views, no problem. Right. Okay? Ridiculously powerful music. And a lot of women, or a lot of artists for that matter, will express themselves in the form of song. In this case, women, right? So they will do social commentary. They will do, identify problems, try to fix problems, and do it through music. Example. So back in the day, speaking of women and problems, tell me if you're familiar with these songs. Aretha Franklin had a song called Respect. Respect.
Yeah.
Okay, she wanted respect. Mm-hmm. Gloria Gaynor had a song, I Will Survive. I will survive, and as long... Okay, that's what she wanted, some respect. She wanted to survive. She wanted to be treated all right. Dolly Parton, we all know that song. Mm-hmm. Working 9 to 5. I feel like I'm fucking doing it.
Go Adam.
A mixtape over here. Right? Doing my thing, the Sauce mixtape. Mm-hmm. But it was a correction that needed to be needed to be done. Okay, you were disrespecting me. You weren't letting me work. Okay, you weren't letting me survive. Like these were real life problems. Okay, so that was in the 70s, 80s. Cool. They had an issue. Correction needed. Respect. Then things changed a little bit.
A lot.
Okay, TLC. I know you're a big fan of TLC. They started talking about they don't want no scrubs. Hey, I feel you.
Yep.
If I'm a chick, I don't want no scrub either. Like, who wants a scrub in their life, right? Then Destiny's Child, I'll never forget it. I think it was like right around 2000, 2001. The Independent. Mm-hmm. All the ladies, Julie, feel me, throw your hands Independent. Okay, boom. No problem with that. But then things started to change. Mm-hmm. Okay? Then Beyonce, she broke away from freaking Destiny's Child, did her own thing. And all of a sudden, who runs the world? Girls. Who runs it? And I'm like, all right, I guess girls run the world now. Okay. That's cool. Good to know. Yeah. Then you got like Ariana Grande.
You didn't know already?
Okay. Well, I thought that men ran the world, but it was good to know.
What do men do it for?
Well, we're going to have that conversation.
Yeah, we're going to get into it.
Then apparently Ariana Grande sings a song recently about that God is a woman. It's like, all right, now they run the world, and God, who is always a man, I guess. I'm not even that guy that goes there, but I guess according to Ariana Grande, she's a woman. Cool, respect. But then that's where things started to get like a little hairy. You got like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. They're like, we got the wettest pudding in the planet, and we're the hoes in this house. Yeah. Okay. Then whether you want to talk about Nicki Minaj, City Girls, real ass bitch, okay, all that. And I'm a hip hop fan, but I'm thinking like, what's the messaging here? Like, what's going on here right now? So my question is this, and Stevie, this is for you because I've heard you comment on this. Is music empowering women today, or is it empowering women to self-destruct?
You took the words out of my mouth for the second thing you said, bro. I had that in my head verbatim. It's empowering women to self-destruct.
Tell me why.
Absolutely.
Because I've heard you comment about this. Maybe that's where I kind of got that from. But you basically said, here's some words that you have said before. Because we do research around here. We got producers, we got researchers. Yeah. You said that music today for women is over-sexualized. It's going to have a devastating impact on women long-term, and they need to abort these mentalities. So I'm thinking, all right, like this is stuff that I wasn't really like aware of. Mm-hmm. And then as I'm listening to your explanation, I'm thinking, All right, let Stevie speak for himself.
Yeah.
So what do you think is happening to
think
women?
about it individually from the Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion impact on the young women that they're listening to them. Like it's there's nothing wrong with an independent woman, but it's getting the women to not even want or desire or need a man at all. You know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking more terms of like longevity, companionship, families, birth rates, marriage, the female hip hop in addition to the feminist movement is just directing women the wrong way. Like it empowers you to, be independent financially, boss bitch this, run my own that. You got,
Period.
Yeah, you got women nowadays. I don't even need a man to have a baby. I just go to the clinic and get.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? But that's not good for society. Like down the long run.
Is it better for society when men talk about us being sluts and whores?
So with that,
But should it be glorified at all?
no, but it's.
She brings up a very good question.
No,
Go ahead.
it is. But the effect that female hip hop is having on women and more of a. Let me get I want to say it right so the message delivered correctly. I think it has more of an impact on women because it will influence women much more than it influences men. Because when you typically hear men talk about these things, these are like, your high value men who have the leverage to say these things, whether they're good or not. But typically you hear your Futures or your Rick Rosses, whomever. These are like big boss men that can typically do what they want. The majority of men don't live in that world, so they know they can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But when you empower all these women who pretty much have the sexual marketplace within their hands, and then they receive these information, it's gonna affect these women on a larger scale because all these women can use this information and be influenced by it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Porn is one of the largest industries in the world, and now women are starting to make money off of that profit, and it's a problem for men. Women have been being sexualized since the beginning of time. I think it's we're in a place, and it's a cycle, right? We see what Madonna did. We see it's all a part of the socio-economic progression and story. Like you said, you went through the history of, we became able to vote, we became able to dress how we want to dress, partake in society the way that we want to partake in society, etc. And then it became somewhere along the lines, we're over-sexualizing ourselves. Well, I think that happened because we got tired of being sexualized and not being the beneficiaries of said sexualization.
Yeah, I disagree. I disagree to you to a certain extent, but I think the majority of the reality doesn't live in that space. The reason why women are over-sexualized because the market is so crazy for it. Men have been put out of the sexual marketplace. Men are not having sex. The stat. Yeah. Men 30 years old or younger. 30%.
1/3 of men under 30 years old have not had sex in last year.
Men are going to college anymore. Men are having jobs. Most men are invisible to women. So with that being said, that's a direct influence on porn, on OnlyFans. OnlyFans, the majority of their consumers are these men who have no sexual connection or outlet with women at all. It's not because of women being over-sexualized themselves. That's happened because the tide
Where are the statistics saying that the men on OnlyFans are having sex?
Say that again?
Like, where are we getting this information?
I don't know about the OnlyFans stat. We can pull that up, but there are multiple stats. It's very Googleable that this is in general. I think it was the guy who was recently on Bill Maher, Scott Galloway's an NYU professor. He talks about how basically society is men are failing within society, but basically to his point, Stevie's point, 1/3 of men under 30 have not had sex within the last year plus. Okay, so meaning like, and this is the whole premise of this show. Let me just back up a second. So I started off the entire show saying basically this show is to help you guys out there because we have 90% mostly male audience, just so you know. Okay. Just so we're clear. We do have a large, we have millions of followers, so just do the math. But the whole premise of the show is to increase your status, your financial status, your relationship status, to see you win in life. But as a man, Okay, and we're gonna have a whole conversation on what a man is, what a woman is, what a woman's looking for, right? You know, a boss babe, an alpha man. That's the next topic here. But with that being said, as a man, the higher you can elevate your status, the more money you can make, the higher, the greater your network, the more your connections, the more you elevate your actual real life status and even your social status. Okay, the byproduct of that will be
Whatever you want.
whatever you want. Correct. But namely, what do men want?
Women.
Beautiful women. So it kind of goes hand in hand right there. What I always say is that money doesn't just live in a vacuum. Yep, I made $1 million this year. Okay, that's it. I have the million.
So
it's
that-
like, what are you going to do with the million now?
So that-
I'm going to go buy a nice car. Why do I want a nice car? So I can fucking look good, so I can get chicks. I want to take a girl on a date. Like, it all kind of goes hand in hand here.
So I kind of tied into what you were saying about men saying that stuff in hip hop, because typically those men are saying it can do whatever they want. That's why it's not an issue when these men typically saying it. Like when you hear women saying the words to the song in the damn club because it's Drake or Future or whomever saying, I'm gonna fuck this bitch, I can do this, I can do that. If it was some dude at McDonald's saying this shit, you're like, man, get the hell out of here with that shit.
So as a woman, I'm happy that there's finally songs that I could sing along to as a woman, where it's a woman speaking about sexual experiences, because we're all human. We all have sex.
Yeah.
Women enjoy having sex just as men do, if not more.
Yeah, but I don't think
Most of the time, it's the woman that's not getting the pleasure in the sexual experience.
That's not the problem though. Like there's no issue with women expressing their sexuality. It's just the impact that it's having on society, long term. It's causing women to be lonely. What's the stat like
Here it is.
I think
I'll
a
give you-
lack
I'll
of
give you
real
this-
men are causing women to be lonely.
So we can unpack that too. We can unpack that too.
So-
There's a lack of real men, because as women progress and become more independent, more successful, they're going to require a man at their level or higher to accommodate them, right? Hypergamy. But if you're a 1% woman, now you're looking for that 1% man, and that 1% man can have 99% of the women out there, right?
And so could the woman.
She could, but is this 1% women gonna go holler at somebody that works at Walmart or
No.
Exactly.
Well, the concept of hypergamy. Let's break this thing down. Okay, so there's a stat out there. Okay, and this is a stat that is basically a massive foundation of why we do the show, because ultimately, like, we interviewed Amarni the Wing Girl the other day, right, Nat?
Yeah, yes.
And she says, I want men to be better with women, not because I want to help men, because I do, because when men are better, that means I will help women. Because women will have better men in their lives.
Right.
100%.
And I was like, cool, I actually appreciate that.
Yeah.
She's a very, very famous, powerful in the dating relationship space, and all her clients are men. And I'm like, so you're a woman that works with men? Yeah, because I want to help women. I said, what does that mean?
Yeah,
Because I
absolutely.
want men to get better, to improve their status, whether it's financial, relationship, be
that.
able to spit game.
Right.
And as a byproduct, now women will have better men to choose from. Respect. Cool. So the problem is, these days, you've said this before, they say it again, men are becoming more feminine.
And women
Women become more masculine.
Yeah.
There's like this, you can be a man, you can be a woman, you can be a fucking kangaroo if you want. It's like, that's a very new thing. That's a very new thing. And I don't know if people are really down for that. But the stat that we always talk about, to back to my specific point, I mean, Dell, you can even Google this right now. It pops, first thing that pops up. And the stat is this. And I say it every show. People are like, all right, Adam, say it again, bro. That by 2030, 45% of women, so almost half, 45% by 2030, working women between the ages of 25 and 45 will be non-married single. Okay? But what's the reason why? Because
I
they
think
don't want to
because
settle
I think-
with no loser ass dudes.
I think because we're getting to a place in the world where people are learning that they can be happy without having to conform or compromise to be in a relationship, because it's what we've grown up thinking, like that's the end all be all.
But the stats say they're not happy though.
Yeah, because I mean,
Correct.
Well, think about it. You just had a beautiful daughter. That joy is something that you can't go buy. You can't go that's something that, in a sense, that you went and you reached out and you were able to find somebody and you were able to come and, have a child. That happiness is not the same happiness as being the richest person and having the biggest business. And yes, there is success in that and there's value in that, and that creates also a person who does deserve that lifestyle. But essentially, when you are building that, it can take away from the opportunity to have children.
I've thought about this a lot because it's been a really hard year for me.
Yeah.
I got depressed, and it was, I was told that it's postpartum depression, and I'm still trying to figure out if it was just postpartum depression or my first time not working in a very long time, right? But so I've been really putting thought into this concept. While I was working and before I found love, I was very happy. I enjoyed my life. I was traveling. I was making money. I was accomplishing my goals. I was living out my dreams. But there was always a part of me that felt like something was missing, a companion, because that's what we as humans always yearn for, right? But I think in the end, it's just human nature to always long for something, to never feel. We have to work on gratitude and being present, because once I did get the love that I was looking for and did have that blessing, I've always wanted a child, to have my daughter. Then I felt that I was mourning my old life. And then I felt that I was like, oh, who am I? Is this my entire identity now? I want to be working on something that means something to me. I enjoy music. I enjoy creating experiences for people. I enjoy helping people launch their careers and reach their dreams and, doing what I do. And so really trying to understand what it means to be a whole individual leading a happy life in the long term. I think that as a woman, we should feel that once we have, we're told that once we have that family and once we become a mother, where all of that's supposed to be enough. But, and for some people it is. Yeah. I think individually, life has so much to offer. And I feel that women are just getting to the place where we're multi-dimensional beings that are capable of doing so much. Women take care of the house, take care of the man, take care of the kids, do it all, and then also go to work. Working women are doing 3 full-time jobs, whereas the man is going to work, coming home, and providing for the household and keeping everyone safe, ideally. So I think we're in interesting times now where it's
but there are different chapters. That chapter of your career life, you felt a level of success and gratitude and your highest peak, but now you're entering essentially a new chapter where you're going to go through experiences with your child that you're going to realize that it's going to bring you happiness that you didn't know it was going to bring you happiness. You're going to be able to guide your child in something that you've never experienced, but you were able to experience through your career. So new chapters, I feel is what's really going to give you different levels of happiness that you can't buy and your career couldn't give you.
100%. It's priceless, and it's an experience that I wouldn't want to go through life with not having, being a mother.
Exactly. Based on that stat, if things progress the way they're going to go, 45% of women are not going to be able to experience what you experience.
Well, yeah, and that's what I want to get your feedback on, because let me kind of frame that conversation. So, and that's exactly what I want to. This is literally one of the things I wanted to hear from you, Julz, because you said you're 32 now, right? And you just had a beautiful baby. Respect. But I know I'm 42. Okay, so I know women who are my age, who are, when I say they were the hottest chicks in high school, all the guys wanted them. Next thing you know, they're telling me they're 42. They're at the egg fertilization clinic, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? I just want a man, Adam. I'm like, what? You could have had any man you wanted when you were 21, when you were 25, when you were 30, whatever.
What if they tried and all those guys were douchebags?
Well, that's part of the problem. Is when do you kind of pull the ripcord and be like, all right, what is that thing?
All right, I'll settle for this douchebag.
No, I don't think you should ever settle. No, I'm not saying to settle, but I'm saying being aware of what the future is. And then here's the question. So your shirt, what does your shirt say right there? It says never not working. You coined that phrase, respect. When I think of Julz, I think never not working. She's been saying that for years. 10 years that I've known you, right? So, we talked about women, especially in hip hop. Women are chasing the bag. Get your money, girl.
Yeah.
I'm like, get your money. All good. I have no problem with that. And that's obviously a message kind of behind the scenes and all these songs and, you know, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion said, get your money. You don't need no man. I hear you on that. And listen, if there's anybody that can appreciate that, it's the guy that hosts a fucking financial podcast. I'm all about the green. We good, okay? But I'm wondering what the negative ramifications of that mindset are specifically for women. Because if you want to have kids, and you said it was the greatest joy of your life, what's going to happen? So let me paint a picture, okay? So, Julz, fast forward. You never had your kid, okay? You're working. You're never not working. How often are you not working?
Never.
Okay? So, next thing you know, by the way, I'm using you as an example because you just had a baby.
Yeah.
It's 10 years down the road. You're not 32, now you're 42, okay? You're sitting on cash. Your career's going great. You're single. You know, you said specifically everyone's looking for a companion. I think we all are. I think we get that.
Yeah.
Whether that's for a night or whether that's for a lifetime, people like companionship. But, you know, you kind of sacrifice the ability to have kids or to find a partner who really loved you for your beauty and your essence and all that because you wanted to be a boss babe and never not work. So I'm wondering, you, Julz, if you didn't have your baby and you spent the next 10 years working and creating something, would you not look back and be like, all right, I've got millions in the bank, but no partner, no child. Am I truly happy? And I say this all the time. I can give guys advice all the time. I'm a guy. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to fucking make millions. I know what it's like to date hot chicks. I got you. But I don't give girls a lot of advice because I don't know what it's like to be a girl. But I do know what it's like to be a girl my age. My age. I tell this story all the time. At my 40th birthday, a year or so ago. Guy comes up to me, my boy Miguelito. He goes, yo, Adam, what's up? You're killing it. You got money at the club. You got the bar, the chicks. You got your show. That's awesome. Oh, shit, is that Laura over there? Yeah, what's up? What's up with her? Oh, yeah, she's just doing her thing. She got kids. She's single. She was hot, bro. I go, I think she's single. She's like, damn, like, that sucks. And it made me realize at 40, the game is different for a man and a woman. I tell this story all the time. So I'm asking you, I'm kind of give you this context. If you were 42, you had millions in the bank, don't you think you would kind of be like, what was I doing all that for? Knowing what you know now, having your child.
Also an interesting topic for me right now as well, because I'm trying to find balance with my work life and my personal life right now, and one has had strain on the other and vice versa. And it's something I'm asking myself. How important is it for me to reach the heights that I know I can reach in my career versus how important is it for me to have a family unit and raise my daughter in a household with a family unit?
And by the way, you should be asking yourself that. It's very important for you to kind of just process that.
I'm trying to figure it out in real time.
But now imagine... If you're 42, because you were doing the imagination
okay,
game right
42.
Here. You're 42.
So I say that
you've
so
got
I've
millions
been
in the
thinking
bank.
about
You're
it
good,
a lot.
of course, but you don't have a kid.
I think.
Don't you think you would be upset?
I think I'd probably wonder what if, but I think that I'd like to see a world where where human beings chase their joy, and ideally, there'd be a scenario where if there's a dream that you have or a future that you see for yourself, you'll be able to obtain that future for yourself, and along the way find a partner who's supportive and in that same boat as you and brings out the best in you, and you can both individually achieve what you're here on this earth to do together. However, a lot of the time, and there's books about this, Women Who Run With Wolves, etc., a woman's greatest downfall is a man. There are many, I'm sorry, and I will say, I'm not to like, I agree with a lot of the points that you make in terms of we need to value masculine men. I don't want to continue to see masculinity in our men attacked. And I, as a woman, just to preface all of what I'm saying, I'm coming from an upbringing where I never had a man I respected in my life. So I'll say that. My mom's the breadwinner of the household. So I'm unpacking and undoing a lot of what I've grown up to know. and learning how to allow a man to be a man in my life. And it is a problem that I have. And I am a product of A, my environment, and B, my culture and my influences. Yes. However, with that all being said, because I'm a product of those things, you could put me in a desert and I will find water, bottle it, sell it, and always be okay on my own.
Yeah.
So with that being the case, I think that it's important for women to, I feel that, you know, we can't present to society that this is the only end all be all. And I don't want to say that we say it's not everything, because it is beautiful and it's amazing, but people should follow their heart. If being an artist and making music and being on tour is what you're here to do, I feel that God put you here so that you can make the music that millions of people need to hear. Maybe you're not going to be able to have a family and live the conventional life that we see in the movies and have that love story, but your music is going to change lives for generations to come. Everybody has their destiny and their path, you know? So I think it's dangerous to, like, you know, sell this continue to perpetuate this storyline of, for women, like, if you're 40 something and you don't have a marriage and you don't have kids, then you're a failure, because you could also be more successful than everyone else. And you might not be happy.
No,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I love what you're saying here. When I say, I'm going to ask you a question at the end of this. So there's a lady that came on the first show, and I was like, how does it feel? Gorgeous, very attractive girl. But she was in her, I would guess, early to mid 40s. And I said, yeah, but don't you want kids? She goes, no, I don't want kids. And I go, well, then you beat the game. You cheated the system. You're an attractive woman, like, you're making money, you're a career woman, and you don't want kids. You win. You win the game. Yeah. Because you don't want kids.
Yeah.
But women, and this is, I think, it's part of the masculine, feminine, you know, dynamic, the nuclear family and all that, is that, you know, men, controversy, might be a controversial opinion these days, men can't have kids, okay? Women need to be the ones that have kids. So, like, the part of the problem that I have with, like, certain creators in certain spaces, I'm not going to call people out, is that, dude, women are the most beautiful thing on the planet. Like, hands down. Diamonds, gold, jewelry, necklaces, I don't give a shit. A hot, beautiful woman, number one thing on the planet, by far. Okay, wars are fought over beautiful women. So let's stop pretending and shitting on women. You suck, you ain't shit. Stop. It's the fact that they are so beautiful and so amazing, and they give life, that we need to honor that, but also honor the fact that if you're a fucking man and you become the man, you can get the women that you want in your life. So, like, it's not men versus women. It's how can we work together for society to be better? And right now, things are so confused. Is the man supposed to be more emotional and more feminine, and the woman should be working and the boss babe? And, like, it's so messed up that I think there's a large, you know, swath of people that are just like, can we just get back to what's normal?
Back to the basics.
Can we just get back to the basics here?
Or can we just do what brings us joy?
Yeah.
But I think I don't want to minimize or discredit anything you're saying. I understand where you're coming from, and I understand your perspective. You remind me of my girl, because a lot of what you said, she's a real estate agent. She works with men all the damn time. She's had to maintain a masculine frame for a lot of her life, and she said the same thing. She never really found a masculine man to. She didn't know how to deal with that. You know what I'm saying?
She never felt comfortable being in her feminine.
So it took us not a while, but you know what I'm saying. We in a good spot now where she loves.
There's a power struggle.
She loves being at home, being the woman, right? But idealistically, you say chase your dreams and things like of that nature. You should, but you also need to be self-aware of, like, we're people, and we, you know what I'm saying, and you got like the emotional side, you got the statistics side, man. So if you tell all these women out here, just chase your dream, just be an attorney, be the best attorney ever. You have women out here on antidepressants because now they don't have no man, they don't have no kids. You know what I'm saying? And you have your perspective is really particular for you. That doesn't.
So when I think about it, when I take into consideration, you know, I study people. I'm in marketing, so I pay attention to people, and so when I do have a perspective, I try to include my experiences and the experiences of those around me. So I have a friend who is that woman that you're speaking of, that is beautiful, that is talented, and I've seen, and she's single, and she does want kids, you know, but she's in a place where she's like, yes, I want kids, but it just hasn't, the opportunity hasn't presented itself because the pick of the litter is so slim. Like, I thank God every day that I found a man that has manners, that keeps his word.
I imagine your dude was like top 1% out here.
Well,
literally last of a dying breed.
Well,
so had I not met him,
I'm not going to say his name, but I mean, you can go. He's an NFL player.
what I'm
Plays for the
saying.
Miami
So,
Dolphins.
he's like
a big, strong, masculine dude.
Right,
Like,
right.
but if
he's as
had
badass as they come.
Had I
Julz.
not met him,
Yeah.
no. But by the way, a lot of people that you think are big masculine people are not what they appear to be, by the way, especially in this industry.
Yeah.
So, but luckily he's one of a few. But had I not met him, I literally could be that woman.
So I'm
You know what I
saying,
mean?
so
Exactly.
And it's not because I wanted to be.
Yeah.
It's just because there was no man that ever made me feel comfortable that he could protect, provide, be honest, be loyal. And so it's like, why should I subject myself to like make compromises
But not
and,
even subjecting or compromising. You know what I'm saying? It's just being aware.
because a woman always has to compromise in the relationship.
It goes both ways. But your perspective where you sit is very unique. I don't imagine most women sit where you sit, where they see the world. You're like the feminist movement on steroids. You know what I'm saying? Like, it took like a really masculine man, someone you respect, to make you feel like a woman, right? And that's like a microcosm of what's taking place from the feminist movement right now. And I understand a woman's plight right now. It's like society has molded women to see the world this way, where they're independent boss. I need a fucking man to be on my level, and if he ain't, then I'm.
Well, how many men do you know that can fix shit around their house?
But wait.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that when it goes both ways, because men are becoming feminine as well. But we're talking about women right now. I hold men accountable as well too. It goes both ways. But a woman taking that journey and they can be self-aware of what's actually taking place in front of them. That's the reason why women have like crazy standards for their man. Like, I'm sure your standards was like, he needs to be this tall, make this much money, talk to me this way, put me in my fucking, like, all.
100%, Julz. You know that's true.
You have a fucking long list of shit, and you found the man that you want, but you got lucky finding the man that you want. You know what I'm saying? So if you were self-aware, not for you specifically, but women in general, if they actually could understand what's taking place realistically, they would. Those standards wouldn't be so crazy. But
I think it's the same. It's the same. You know, I think it's human nature. Like men want a woman with pretty face, nice boobs, nice butt. She gotta cook, clean.
Nah.
No, what do you mean, Steve? Yes.
It doesn't.
Yes. We're talking about.
I'm saying,
Steve, what's going on?
I'm comparing typically or generally the amount of things a woman that's on her shit needs in a man compared to a man needs in his woman. Like, you can cook, you can clean, fuck me, give me peace, and we chill, we cool. But a woman, he need to be, the long list of shit they need.
Well, of course. The woman has a laundry list.
Yeah.
I mean, Julz, let's get real here.
Sure.
Your dude, he's 6'2". He's good looking. He's an NFL player. He makes millions. He is handy around the house. He lays it down. Like,
you hit the lottery.
He's doing it all. Bing, 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 bing. And most guys like that are like, I just want her to be hot and cool and just don't fucking give me a headache. Like, but those three things, but Julz is like, I can't do the third thing. But those three things that a guy wants are super important to the guy. Whereas all those things, the 10, 12 things, you're like, yeah, I mean, I guess I can do without that one. But these are like, those three things for a man are very important.
I think women make these lists, and sure, like, we talk about everything we want in a man, and so the perception is like that we're impossible and we want all these things. But at the end of the day, we're accepting less on a regular basis.
But they don't want to.
I don't think they should have to.
Correct.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
I don't even think they're accepting less because
Women shouldn't.
people ain't getting married no more. Relationships
Stevie,
ain't
you
lasting
said
no
this.
more.
You said this.
I think it has to do with having like Instagram and things at your fingertips that you could literally, but it's just different times now. Like before, you couldn't slide and like Beyonce's DMs, or you couldn't like talk to a girl in California if you were in Florida. Like it just wasn't, women weren't as easily accessible. A man could go, or a woman could go on the internet right now and connect with anyone all around the world.
That's valid, and that's the reason why women's standards are so high, because first of all, you have all the options, right? You have men flooding your DMs. It doesn't happen vice versa. Women ain't flooding men's DMs.
Correct.
Men flood women's DMs all the time. So you can have your pick of the litter, whoever the hell you want.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I was just telling my boy yesterday, he's like, you live in Miami. Like, don't you have a jaded perspective on relationships? And I go, all right, that's a fair point. But let me give you a different counterpoint. If you're the hottest chick in Tulsa, Oklahoma, okay, before social media, you had your pick of the litter of the dudes in Tulsa. And if you're a dude in Tulsa, you knew who Kelly from down the block was, and maybe you had a chance with her. Now, Kelly, in this global sexual marketplace, Kelly's coming to Miami on for Ultra Weekend.
It's a wrap.
Okay? And she's going to get flown out to Dubai by Prince Mohammed out there. Or some dude, some male model out there in LA could fly her out. So all of a sudden, Kelly don't need to deal with Rick from Tulsa. She's got Rick in Tulsa. She's got Adam in Miami. She's got, Mohammed in Dubai. She's got Hector in LA. She's got Mark in New York. She's got Billy in Boston.
Facts.
And she's like, I'm the hottest chick. I'll go where, I'll take all 5. I'll take all 6. I'll go everywhere. And like, that's the difference, is that back in the day, Kelly from Tulsa would marry Rick from Tulsa.
Yep.
End of the story. It's a wrap. Now Kelly's getting flown around and but what's the point here? If you're that dude listening to this, be like, yeah, I want to be that guy. I want to be able to get that hot ass Instagram model. It's like, well, then you need to become the man. They say that women simply are, but a man must become. Like a man, like when's the last time that you would just consider dating a guy because he was hot? Just because he was hot.
Never.
Okay.
Never.
But guys will date a hot chick 10 out of 10 days a week. And then obviously if she gets annoying,
Most
whatever.
of the times, the hot guys don't have all the other qualities.
Exactly.
So it's not
Exactly.
even
Well, guys like Steve and I, we kind of got it all though. So look at us, Steve.
This is the play. I'm just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like thinking about 17-year-old girl was pretty as hell, and think about all the validation and praise she's gonna get as she's growing up by all the men and whomever. It's gonna mold her mind where you're going to be damn near need to be perfect for her to take you serious down the road when she's ready to settle down. Opposite end, you got a man.
Or she might just want the man who respects her for
but
her mind, even if he looks like Quasimodo.
But I'm just saying, I'm trying to compare the trajectory of our lives.
Okay.
As you growing up, you probably got praised, talked about how beautiful you were, dudes hollering at you throughout the majority of your life, right? Where you had all the leverage, pretty much getting type of man you think you want. Compared to a man, it's just based on how you look.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Based on, not to discredit what you were able to do, business wise, but just based on your looks, you can pretty much do whatever you want when it comes to men.
Look at Nat. Who did we have on our show last Thursday?
We had
Mia and Jordan.
Yeah, Mia and Jordan.
Okay, so let me give you a little context here. Mia's 21 years old and beyond talented girl.
They hate me in the comments. It's hilarious.
Don't worry about them in the comments. Don't even read the comments. They hate everybody.
Chats will be read soon. So
don't worry about that. Read the super chats. That's the only comments you got to pay attention to. Super chats. If you want to get your voice heard, read your super chat. But we had Mia. Julz, don't look at the comments.
Okay.
Look at me. Okay. Mia was here, 21, super talented, beyond talented. The fact that she was talented is just a bonus. Because why? She was gorgeous.
Okay.
Beautiful girl, 21 years old. Jordan, good-looking guy, killed it on YouTube. Jordan Wells, shout out to you, buddy. And I said, how, you're 21, you're 20, what was he, 24? She's got 5 million on TikTok. He's got 1 million on YouTube. They're both we're interviewing people with clout. And she goes, yeah, I date billionaires, and she's throwing the B word out there.
Okay.
I'm
like it ain't nothing.
Like it ain't nothing. I'm like, Mia, what are you talking about right now? Because she's gorgeous. Again, you think the billionaires is hitting her up because she's funny? No, that's a bonus. Meanwhile, Jordan was like, I'm like, Jordan, how much chicks did you get? He's like, bro, I didn't get looked at until a year ago. He's like, good looking guy.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, chicks would just look right by me 18, 19, 20, 21, nothing. So like the rules are different. But this is essentially what I'm saying is that women are beautiful. Use your beauty to your advantage. Don't end up like the girls I know.
But you need to be self-aware.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't end up like and I love these girls. These are my friends. But they're telling me, Adam, I really want a man. Adam, I'm a little depressed right now. Adam, I got an appointment with the egg clinic tomorrow, you know? I don't want girls to end up like that. I want them to recognize their beauty and capitalize on their beauty. And men need to, for men, it takes a lot longer. For men, it takes a lot longer to become the man that you want to be. I'm just, difference. You said at some point, Stevie, you said, and then we'll move on to the next topic because we've got about a half hour left.
I'm going to read the chat.
You said and then we'll read the chat at the end here. You said if your only motivation is to focus on your bag, then you're going to be lonely. This is on the Savo podcast, the Red Pill Lion. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
80% of women are fucked up.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
You said you want to be a boss babe, but you want an alpha man. But there's no such thing because that dynamic doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Okay. But Julz is making it work.
It's a struggle.
Is it a struggle? Okay. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not
And
easy.
Julz, this is what I want to get to the heart of. This is like, we're now coming to the essence of the show. Yes. You're dating the epitome of an alpha man, an NFL linebacker who makes millions. Hello? And you are the epitome of a boss babe. You are the poster child of a boss babe.
Very
Your
difficult.
phrase is never not working.
Yes.
How does that work? How does that relationship coexist?
Extreme commitment to self growth as individuals and to the relationship. Therapy, like we argue all the time. Yeah, it's been very difficult.
Yeah,
but
and
we've made it a conscious decision. Like, okay, I feel safe here. I trust this person. I am inspired by this person. I love this person. So all of like the very important intricacies, they're important, but they are at the end of the day intricacies. You know what I mean? That we have to work through. But
You gotta let go.
it is.
You gotta just let go.
Yeah. So
gotta let go.
what's his? This isn't a therapy session. I love it. But is his problem with you? The reason that he was into you is because you were out there and you were, famous and people know you. And he's obviously, but more than anything, he was attracted because he actually looks at you and he's like, damn, like. So what's his biggest thing with
By
you?
the
Like,
way, the
stop
day
working?
he met me,
Yeah.
there were way hotter girls than me there. Way like I was
Well,
not.
beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
I was not the
So-
hottest girl there by a long shot, and I think
I doubt
yeah,
that. However, but what's his biggest problem with you? Meaning he wants you to be more
that
of like
I tried that I'm doing too much.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
That
He
I'm
wants you
doing
to be
too
what?
much. He wants me to chill.
And
wants
be
me
what?
To chill
mama.
and
And
be
be what?
home
And be a mommy.
And be mom and
Okay.
be a wife.
And you want him to do what?
Live a little. I wanna have fun.
Okay.
I wanna experience life. And
But the reason that you're into him is
Explore
because he's this
and-
big, strong, alpha, successful guy. Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Well, no. The reason why I'm into him is because the parts of him that aren't so big and strong, like, yes, I feel safe with him and he's big and strong, but like my favorite parts about him are how genuine he is, how kind he is, how loving he is, how thoughtful he is, attentive to detail, romantic, like, just caring. Like he's an all around amazing man.
And you know what? I appreciate you saying that. And that's where I want to look in the camera and tell
Because
you
he
guys,
allows himself
yes,
to be.
Because guys, you could be a big, strong alpha dude, but also be good
I like
to
that
your
he's
woman.
not like all the other big, strong.
Because he's actually a gentleman.
He is a Southern gentleman.
Yes.
He is a real man.
I had
And
this
there's
conversation.
A lot
Go
of
ahead.
these big, strong guys, they're getting their validation from fucking. They're getting their validation, or they think they're getting their validation from buying their way into things and people and situations and coolness and fashion, whatever. Like, he doesn't care about any of that. Like, if he was dripped up when I met him, it wouldn't have been the same. Like, we met each other like in bathing suits, so it wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like one of those situations where I'm like looking at his jewelry or what he's wearing or any of that. And usually
real.
when people have those things, like I wasn't attracted to those kinds of people.
Yeah. Was that like a warning kind of for you when you see that?
Especially like
Same.
the crazy, and I say this like I want to trade this in for just a regular gold, by the way. But like that's like for me, a man that's sexy is the guy that's like the most respected and powerful man in the room, but he doesn't have to say too much or do too much with his clothes, with his mannerisms, with how he speaks and carries himself. A grown ass man who doesn't need outside validation.
Yeah.
So, he's
for the men that are listening.
There's this whole concept of a high value man, and a high value man gets this. It's like, so I guess my question, and then I actually have a lot of questions for you, Steve. So don't feel neglected. So we're seeing it time and time and again that a high value man and a high value woman, whatever you want to classify that it can tend to be a recipe for disaster. Like look at Tom and Giselle. Like if you ask me to point to a relation, Tom Brady, I'm talking about. If you ask me to point to a relationship where I'm like, what's the ideal relationship? NFL Hall of Fame quarterback, GOAT, the best ever to do it, supermodel, babe, boss babe, all that, come together, family, kids, and now they're getting divorced. Then you got like...
Because he didn't know when to stop. She held it down, sacrificed her whole career.
What other career does a man need to retire at 45? No other career.
It's not about needing to retire. He doesn't have to work financially. They're taken care of. His kids are growing up every day. A football player has to be at the facility at 7 a.m. They have to leave the house at 6:30.
Yeah.
They don't come home till 6 o'clock. The kids go to bed at 7:30. That's an hour and a half that you're in the child's life. 2 hours, and then on the weekends you're playing ball.
Well, you actually have a unique perspective because you're engaged and you're a child with an NFL player.
So she's raised those kids.
Yes.
And not just her, but those kids are waiting for their father. And he's given, I'm sure there was promises behind closed doors. Like, let me just get this one last ring. Let me just do this one last thing for my legacy. And it's like, well, I don't know. I mean, what else? What more does he want to play for?
But isn't that kind of the position that you're kind of debating yourself? Is that you're between your career and your family right now?
Well, I haven't won the Super Bowl yet. I didn't
but
get to prove.
But you still had major successes, though.
Nowhere near. To me, I'm a disappointment.
But that could be where he's viewing himself. To him, he could be in a place where I feel like I'm a disappointment. I want to be more for my kids. I want to do more for my kids. I want to be more of an example for them. Like that could maybe be where he's also struggling, because you also don't know his side. You don't know her. You don't know the situation.
Tom Brady's like it's not even a debate about him. So the debate's been won. The accolades are there. The money is there. The family's taken care of. Go home.
But his internal success, you don't know his internal success.
You're putting that cap on him, though. You don't know what's going on in his mind.
He doesn't know. To him, maybe he wants to be bigger than the Tom Brady that people see him today.
And then when he gets that, what memories is he going to have with his children?
Well, that's a sacrifice and a thing that he's dealing with. But it's essentially the thing that he's looking for more. He's
I understand.
Missing something.
I feel him, and I think that life is about balance.
Well, it's crazy because I love the fact that you're obviously with an NFL player, and I understand and. Being a supermodel, mother, wife, I get it. You want your man to come home. But this man is, so men say, strive for greatness, focus on success, focus on excellence, not so much women. That's like a mantra within men, in the manosphere. Mm-hmm. Find your purpose. You're talking about a guy who's like the greatest to ever freaking do it. And he's like, just let me continue to be great and work on my greatness. Okay, we have an entire off season for kids. And by the way, just one last year. Like,
the
stick
entire
with me.
off season is filled with training, by the way.
That's fine.
Media,
but she's been with him 20 years or however long they've been together. She's like, give me one more year, baby. Now you're going to go fucking blow it all up because you don't want me to be great. It's almost selfish, but I also understand why she thinks.
Oh my God.
Well, I also understand, hear me out, why she thinks he's being selfish. I'll
tell you why.
Yes.
Because he just won the Super Bowl in Tampa. Like, what other
2 years ago. He lost last year.
Okay, so he lost last year. He should have, that's when you're in the casino and you keep playing and you lose your money. He should have retired after he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but you don't tell it. Like,
you don't
know how many.
And by the way, I love Tom Brady and I grew up in
crazy.
Boston. So the fact that he would even retire from the sport is devastating to me.
But that's what his purpose is. Everyone says you got to find your purpose. Find your purpose. He found his purpose.
But he's not a mother.
And now you wanted to cut it off? While he's still doing it?
Because think about it,
She
he's
knew
not.
what she signed up for,
He's
man.
not.
Bingo.
And okay, but we
She
don't
knew
know
what
the
she signed
conversations
up
that
for.
went.
Right.
No, he
Correct.
said in the media, he said to us publicly, I've made a promise to my family. Be a man of your word. You made the promise to your family. Your wife who makes more money than you and is actually kind of just as iconic, right? She owns Javiana's freaking flip
Oh
flops.
Lord, oh Lord. See, I know your man got to be having problems.
She put all that on the side to raise her family and expected her man to come home after a certain amount of wins. So it's like that was the deal. I'll hold it down, babe. I'll put my career
And
on
what if
hold.
he says, babe, I'm
now
sorry.
it's time, and he's like, I want to keep playing.
What
She's
if he
like,
says,
you
babe,
selfish
I'm sorry.
ass.
I thought I was done, but I'm not done.
She's like, am I not enough for you to be fulfilled?
But no,
am
it
I
ain't
the
got
supermodel who could support us both
to do with that, though. It's like
financially
the
and take care of
NFL
our
was
kids
like
and not enough?
genetically embedded in this man. He's been doing this shit
It's
since
time for him to experience life after
that's why
not for long.
And that's why they're getting a divorce, because it's essentially Giselle telling this man to stop doing what he loves. And it's like how old is he? 45. 45. It ain't like he about to be playing for 5 more years. You've been doing
You don't know that.
He's not gonna play till he's 50.
No.
But
Well,
even
you never know
People
with that
didn't think
guy.
he was going to play till he's 45.
That's true.
Well, either way, like once he's done, it is a wrap. Like you got him all to yourself forever. Well, what's another?
And that's and you know this with athletes, or I mean, you're not there yet, but these athletes, when they retire, they end up getting depressed because then now they lack purpose.
Yeah.
And then think about Tom Brady.
Since you're a
Or they
teenager,
become The Rock.
But then
or
think about Tom
yeah, how many
Cruz
rocks
or-
are there, Julz?
Tom Brady,
One.
Tom Brady would definitely be, or Shaq. Tom Brady could definitely be another iteration of that.
Correct. But
Whereas
I'm
he's-
talking about the other 99.9999% athletes. They retire, and now they're like, "What do I do with my
And then
life
think
now?"
about Tom Brady. How
And that's why
how
NFL
psycho he
players-
is. Remember how psycho he is on that field?
Yeah.
You bringing that home now.
But there could have been more. Like, of course, there could have been more effort maybe on his end to his wife. Maybe they lacked in
Definitely
they don't
miscommunication.
spend time. They don't date each other.
Yeah.
That's an area that we don't know. But when you look at like the perspective of it all, essentially, it's like, he's focusing on his career and he wants to be like, his kids are at an age where they do need him. But I think also him doing this is also
They're about
going
to be in middle school and high school. Those are the times where you need advice. It is hard in school right now.
Correct. But I think also them also seeing their dad reach certain goals and make certain sacrifices, that's also a lesson in itself.
100%.
And them also seeing the sacrifice. Look, because dad wants to do X, Y, and Z, me and mom are not going to work. That's an understanding they have to understand. They should understand that now. Before their daughter gets older and she wants to go date a football player, she should understand the reality of what your life could be. So I think this whole thing is a lesson in itself for the family. And as unfortunate as it being public and exposed and all that stuff, and we don't know the details, essentially it is a very realistic lesson for the kids today, because that's the life essentially they're kind of headed towards.
And by the way, like I said, I'm all for people being here to do what they're destined to do. So had it seemed like with this specific case, there weren't like agreements in place, then I would be like, yeah, Tom needs to do what he's destined to do. But there's two people here who had very big legacies to leave behind, very big platforms and careers. And it's clear that one made a sacrifice and a compromise. And it seems that there was an understanding. And so to me, the whole thing, from if I'm speaking about this specific instance, like I feel for Giselle. I feel for Giselle as a woman who was looking forward to those Disney trips, those father-daughter dances being attended, those kids after school programs having both the father and the mother in the audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And by the way, I can appreciate it. And this is the reason that we have multiple men and women
I think
on
it's
the
great.
panel.
I think this is healthy
'cause it's a
conversation.
It's great. Yes.
It's important for men to understand that women also have a voice in this matter.
Yes.
Like, I'm a Tom Brady guy, and obviously I'm on, Team Tom in essence, but Giselle does have a fucking voice in the relationship.
Yes.
It is 50-50 in that regard. So
I mean, she's basically been raising those kids.
they also have nannies and butlers and drivers
Yeah.
and coaches.
We
and
don't know exactly what's been going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Besides what
But
they put
here,
out.
Julz,
we just
one
know
last
with his
question.
schedule, like-
One last question, and then I'm going to turn it over to Stevie. I got some stuff for him before we wrap up in the next 10-15 minutes. There's a saying. This is the culmination moment for you.
Okay.
There's a saying in the manosphere red pill community, which is basically, how men operate, that men lead and women follow. And there can only be one leader in the relationship. Do you have a problem letting your man lead in the relationship, or are you okay with that?
I don't have a problem with it. I'm okay with it.
I was waiting for somebody to stop.
So there's multiple reasons for my tenseness here. Number one, I have to go to the bathroom. I've been holding it for a while. So if you're reading my body language, that's what.
Got it.
Number two,
Yes.
I think that there's things that, yes, he's the man of the household and he's going to lead. And
Open it up real quick, the door.
I'm training myself to allow that to be the case.
Got it. Do you have to go to the bathroom really bad?
Yes, yes.
So here's what we're going to do. Come back. We're going to do a question or two with Stevie, and then you're going to give your final thoughts when you come back.
Okay,
and
perfect.
We'll wrap
Thank you,
up.
appreciate it.
Don't run out, though,
Yes.
Julz.
Come back.
Julz will be right back. Okay.
That was funny.
Okay.
We all waited for it.
Yeah.
That was great.
I was waiting for somebody
I
to
love
crack
that.
first.
Deli, I do need you back here, though, buddy. Interesting perspective right there. All right, Stevie, I actually have a whole segment for you that I want to get into it.
right.
Okay,
Yes.
so, you know, we talk. It's how funny is that she didn't know. She's like, "What's red pill?"
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
all right, Deli, let's do this, baby. So, I actually had some questions regarding Andrew Tate. You're an Andrew Tate guy or no?
I'm an Andrew Tate guy.
You like Tate?
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, that was for her, but so typically you identify with the red pill community for the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. But lately you've been locking horns with a couple different people.
Uh-oh.
So, you know, Sneeko was canceled. And you did a reaction video to what he had to say about the cancellation with Abba and Preach. We just had Preach on the show a couple weeks ago. Shout out to you, Preach.
Yeah.
He's got beef with Fresh and Fit. They've got beef, but he's not red pill. And then Sneeko's calling him Apple and Peach. So, by the way, if you're not familiar with who Sneeko is, or Abba and Preach, or Stevie for that matter, that was the thumbnail right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, you end up reviewing the video. Within the first 30 seconds, you're like, he's a fucking idiot. He's an entitled ass bitch. He's a prima donna. He's been brainwashed by the red pill.
Yeah.
And you said, I think at one point, that he's leading young people down a toxic valley of death.
Yeah.
So again, you typically, you know, you're down with the red pill your community.
Yeah.
But so why do you single out Sneeko, and why do you think that he's such a bad influence?
It's because he's not red pill. I'm not entirely in tune with everything he got going on. I see like the most viral videos he has, but the video that Abba put, he laid all the information out, and Abba and Sneeko was playing victim. Like he made it seem like they just erased this shit and he didn't know where it came from, but they gave him like countless warnings or 3 warnings, like, hey, if you do this shit again, we'll get rid of your shit. And he's playing victim out here, man. And then I made a conscious effort to pay attention to him, like, you know, past few weeks, man, and just the way he moves. He's a kid. I didn't know he was as young as he is, but he's a kid.
How old is he?
I think he's like 24, 25.
Okay.
He's a kid, and I think that, you know, he probably looks up to like these Tates and people of this in that area, and it sounds cool to say what they're saying, and you know, the traction and the virality of it all is just.
Clout. You think he's a clout chaser?
I don't know, because he's been doing it for so long. I think that this red pill shit probably resonated with him, and he just, you know, went off the rails with it. But I don't like it because that shit has a lot of influence, and he's young, and there's a bunch of boys out here who lost, who are looking for guidance and looking for, you know, certain areas to better themselves, and they go down this lane. As far as what I've been seeing from Sneeko lately, I think it's going to make situations worse for them.
Gotcha. Well, would you ever do a debate with him or anything like that? Okay.
Absolutely.
Sneeko.
Yeah.
You familiar with Andrew Tate?
I became familiar recently.
Okay. So anyway, we kind of were talking about that, but you're catching beef with someone else on the other side.
I don't think as poorly of Andrew Tate as most people do.
Really?
I think he makes some valid points in some cases.
Well, we're talking. That's sort of like the manosphere, the red pill community that we're talking about, and obviously you're in Miami. You've heard of Fresh and Fit. You know those guys? Okay, don't go on their show right now.
No, I would see you go over there. That'd be hard.
That'd be hard. But by the way, shout out to those guys. My guys, they just hit 1 million on YouTube. So
Amazing.
respect to you guys out there. Chop it up,
what's
cut
their
it up.
show about?
About everything you're talking about right now, but even more amplified.
The stuff that triggers you is
Yeah.
over there like amplified.
Okay, great.
But so that's, you know, red pill stuff. But you're also catching beef or locking horns with people who say they are not red pill, and they're identified. I don't think they would identify himself as blue pill, but he's been called blue pill, and that's my guy Hafiz.
Oh yeah, he went crazy up here.
So Deli, I know you got a picture of what Hafiz looks like. So
I already know what he about to put up there.
You already know. So
I want to see who's Hafiz. Am I like? I need to catch up. I've been in baby world.
That's okay.
I don't know. If,
That's
We're getting
anyways,
you
could
like
just
accommodate.
find it on
That's
YouTube.
him?
It's fine.
No.
No, but anyway, you called Hafiz annoying, passive aggressive. He talks to people like they're idiots, and he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with
Wow.
Hafiz, just so we're all clear, just so
Yeah.
you know. But what's your beef with Hafiz?
I didn't have beef because I prefaced it saying I don't know him. I don't want to say this about him, man. But that interview he had with with Pearl, Pearly Things. It got under my skin, man, because he was talking to her like she was an idiot, and he was really passive aggressive, and you know I ain't appreciate that.
That
It
one right
had nothing
there.
to do with like. You know, I don't even know what the hell blue pill is. It's like you're stuck in the matrix. Is that what blue pill is?
Anyway, red pill, blue pill. It's taken from the Matrix.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like if you take the blue pill, then life will continue as is, no
Yeah.
problems. Red pill, you're gonna know the real truth of life.
I
That's
red pill.
came from that movie,
Yeah.
but also some of the stuff that comes with knowing the truth. But
And I have issue with the stuff he says too, because I think that's gonna hurt men as well. Because
what do you
Like
think?
what?
Because red pill to me is you just being aware of what's actually going on. You got the blinders lifted, and for men, you're equipping them.
You're tuned in.
You're equipping them with as much as they need to navigate through this world as best as they can to come out on the better end. And the stuff Hafiz puts, I heard him saying, it's like he comes from like a really emotional space. Doesn't really, you know.
Can you pinpoint something that it's like
Well,
totally disagree?
It's or more like idealistic. Like, you know, in a perfect world, it should be this. And, you know, you
not
could be
a perfect world.
you could be idealistic, but you got to be realistic at the same time. Like what you're saying is not the way it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But do you think he's coming from a place of a way that it could be if it's worked on accordingly around?
What was he saying in the perfect world? What?
Because I know he's
Like
agrees, but he's like different in a way of like I think he's coming more of a place of like all the things that are negative, we can make it positive. It's just gonna be
But
kind of out of the
he
norm.
never comes up with solutions. He just says this is what it is, and I guess instead of attacking it, you should come up with solutions. And I think one of his biggest qualms is like people out here who spit this red pill stuff are not really red pill, and he had like animosity towards that. But like he was just.
Well, his whole thing is this, because we got 5 minutes left, and I want to get the super chats in, and I want to let you guys get the final word. But his whole thing is this: he kind of draws a parallel from feminism or like the toxic part of feminism to the red pill, and he's kind of basically saying that they're kind of different branches of the same tree.
Yeah.
And like all the problems that are kind of going on that, the same with that, and I can understand that. I'm not. But here's what I do. Why I think he's a necessary voice, because no ideology, nothing should go unchecked. Nothing should just. Yep, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's religion. I don't care if it's politics. I don't care if it's intersexual dynamics with men and women. I don't care if it's how you should invest your money. There should always be a counterpoint. That's what a debate is.
Yeah.
So in the red pill space, and I'm friends with all these dudes. I interview all these guys. Like, don't chop this up to make sure think I'm talking shit. I'm cool with these people. But what they're saying can't just be gospel. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
That's it. Can't question it.
Yeah.
And like I hosted a debate with Rolo, who's known as the godfather of the red pill, and Ruslan, who's a very Christian, I won't even say Christian, he's a follower of Christ. So he labels himself. And I loved it because my essence is I'm just trying to find out the truth. Trying to find out, all right, you believe this, you believe this. What's this? What's the common ground here? And what I think Hafiz is doing is basically saying, look, not everything you're saying is accurate. Not everything you're saying is the way that it goes. And I'm okay with that. That's competition. That's capitalism. That's questioning things. That's debate. That's discourse. And as long as you can have those types of conversations without fucking being disrespectful, totally cool with that. And that's what I appreciate about the conversation we had here today was, I think you guys disagreed. I disagree. No, you're not right. Like,
You have
but
level-headed people
but
here.
that's the beauty of what we're trying to do here is we're trying to take people with different perspectives, different ideologies, and see if we can come together. Right. And that's, I think, what we're doing here. And I think both of you guys kind of like did your thing.
Yeah.
With
And
that being said, go ahead.
I think multiple points can be true at the same time.
Yeah, that's
you
a
know,
fact.
and I think it's important for society to
Yeah.
like continue to remember that.
Just like the Tom Brady discussion. I'm a Tom Brady guy. As a dude who played football and is friends with athletes, like I'm on Team Tom. But
I
like
got
it
a
took
question,
it
though.
took
I
it
got
took
a
her to
question.
say, hey, this is what Giselle's thinking, and that's why I empathize with that.
So how you feel about Giselle with the divorce though? Like you cool with her divorcing that and parting ways from a family with all them kids?
I think it's none of us is place to really have an opinion on anyone else's marriage, honestly. But for the sake of like the conversation in this show, I feel that even with the sake of this conversation, like we don't know, you never know the ins and outs of things. Like, you know, so it's like I can't even say I'm okay with. First of all, I don't care. I wish them both.
Let's just start with that. I don't give a shit.
Like I wish them both. I wish them both joy in their lives, and most importantly that they can find a way to co-parent in a way that's conducive for the children to have a healthy upbringing, because that's what's most important here. And I think like everybody needs to remember that like there's two young lives involved here that you know. That's the most important thing. But
The kids, you're saying.
yeah, so
Three of
men
them,
are
three of
really
them.
pissed about this, huh? Men are really pissed about
Because I've said it before, I said it again, and feel free to push back, and I know we got to wrap up, that you could be Tom Brady. You could be the freaking man, Super Bowl winning quarterback, GQ looks, famous, awesome dude. You never hear bad stories about Tom Brady. You could just be the epitome of masculinity, the leader of leaders, a man among men, all that, and then some multimillionaire beautiful wife, marry a supermodel, don't cheat on her, be a good man. You could do all these things. And then at some point she's like, yeah, I think it's time for a divorce. He's like, what?
Has he been a companion?
Well, I don't know. We don't know
He's
that.
been
But
many things, but we all want one thing. It's companionship. Giselle is worth 400. Tom Brady is worth less than 3. I don't think she cares about the money at this
do you
point.
think he cares
It's,
about the
it's
money?
nothing, that
I
has
should-
nothing to do with the money.
I think he cares about
and
the money?
I don't think she cares about, you know, honestly, to
She
be
don't care
honest,
about
his
his purpose.
legacy anymore.
See? That's
because
crazy.
she's like, I want, yeah, it's
That's
not that,
crazy.
it's not crazy. It's just, it's her truth. Like does she not deserve, Tom deserves to have a legacy, but Giselle deserves to have companionship.
That's
Giselle
wild.
deserves to be happy. Giselle deserves to have peace and support and help with her kids.
I actually fully agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you one last question. We'll wrap it up. Who do you think is harder to replace? Giselle replacing Tom or Tom replacing Giselle?
You know the answer. Come on.
I don't know them personally, so we're just going off of like their socioeconomic
None of us know us
status.
Yeah.
personally, but I can answer that question real quick.
You think Tom's gonna be harder to
There's
replace?
one Tom Brady. There's
Yeah, of course. Tom is
hundreds
gonna be
of
hard to replace.
supermodels.
Okay, and there's lots of wealthy. What if she's gonna go be with a freaking?
She got to get them first though.
But
She
you
don't
even-
got to do nothing to get nobody. She's Giselle. All she got to do is open up her fucking mailbox.
That's the
open up
problem.
her.
That's the problem.
But
It
is
don't
it? But
work
didn't you
that way.
say like you struggle to find, like you got lucky to find the man that you did? It's hard for women to find like a good man, like an example, like you for example, like to find that
It is
good
hard.
man. So for her to go from Tom to finding essentially someone equivalent to better,
Yeah.
it's gonna be really hard for
She ain't
her.
going from
and
Tom
it's-
to
Yeah.
Ron.
It's unfortunate.
She got standards
It's not
now.
like we're
Yep.
Her
happy about it.
ex is
I feel
Tom.
terrible that she now has to figure out how do I suffice for this loss that I'm taking because I'm looking for happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And she deserves happiness. Absolutely. Like she made probably some of the biggest sacrifices of the relationship. So for her, it's gonna be hard. Him,
Yeah.
I don't
You know
think
what
it's gonna
route?
be
You know what
hard for
route
him.
she's gonna go? She's gonna go the.
How many Giselles are there? How many women are there that have a higher net worth than Tom Brady?
But
they
I
don't-
don't
but the
think,
men she
I
want
don't
don't
think
care-
Tom
But the men-
cares.
the
men she
I
want
don't
don't
think
care
Tom
about that,
cares
though.
if they have a network of
The men
400.
that she want don't care
I
about
think
her
Tom
money.
is looking for a girl that's gonna support him and let him be on the field.
Okay, and there's plenty of those. There's plenty of those.
Exactly.
Go get you one of those, Tom, because
Exactly.
Giselle,
She's gonna have
she's
issues.
special.
She's gonna have
Exactly.
issues.
Yep.
Giselle could go. Look at who's the guy that Penelope Cruz is married to? Not Penelope Cruz. You know who I'm talking about with the S. She's Selma Hayek. Her man is the fucking owner of like.
Man, she got lucky.
what's the company that owns Louis Vuitton and Moet Hennessy and all these kinds of
No,
people?
LVMH.
What's
Bernardo,
Tom
no?
Brady in a drop of magnificent creators, inventors, and minds?
Yeah,
in the
but you
world?
No,
comparing
they're
them to
out
that
there.
relationship.
They're out
if
there.
you're gonna take a chance over her doing that, like
Well, we'll see. How about this?
Yeah.
You know,
We'll
the reality is,
see.
Yes.
let's see who they end up dating next.
Yes.
My opinion is she's going to maybe go the Pete Davidson route. Like,
Yeah.
all right, let me just date some clown to get laid for a little bit.
I
but
have
that ain't
some
reality.
hope. I think she'll get like an undercover successful guy.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
she's
I have
gonna
some
like
All those
be with a
undercover-
brilliant.
all those
Or how about
undercover
this?
successful
she's
guys.
better off just trying to make it work.
Or how about this?
Yes.
They hopefully make it work.
better off just
Ideally.
making it work.
Ideally,
Well, yeah, I
ideally,
think we
that
all
would
would
be
want
it.
that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a blow for the institution of marriage. If that can't work, fuck me, fuck my life. Anyway,
There's
ladies
hope.
out there, I love
There's
you. Hit
hope.
me up in the DM.
Stop.
Nat, now it's time for Nat's rant. Go ahead, Nat.
Want me to do my rant? My chats? Or
You got
we
some
want me to do
super
my
chats.
rant?
You
Let's
got
do
some
my-
things to say. Go
Yes.
ahead.
So I'll go through some of the super chats. I'm gonna do the $10
Where
and
is this
above. I have them on here. I
She's
know.
on her
YouTube
phone.
Yeah,
chat?
I have them on here.
No, on the YouTube chat. Deli. Go to the first story. You can
Somebody
get off
said,
that.
"Who heard?"
Well, I'm gonna read the super chats we have. I'm gonna read $20 and up because just
No.
for sake of time of our guest. We have one that says from DL Sane. I really want to know
Yeah, that one.
podcast $20.
No, yeah.
What's good, brother? Just a little pushback. Violence has always been linked to hip hop back in the beginning. Rest in peace, Scott LaRock, Big L, and all the rest. Great show, great topic. Then we have NSX, $10. Rename your show to Modern Woman. Avoids to teach men how to be a role model. Where are the stats for that? Leave it to Stevie. Then we have another one from him as well. Thoughts on gender roles and feminization and the men in the media of Hollywood. If you watch new content this year on Netflix, especially kids content, they're portraying all girls as masculine and boys as feminine. That's something to keep in mind.
That's a
Something to look out for. Another one from DL Sane. I really want to know podcast 20. Ask Myron Gaines to tell you about the husband store and the wife store. Your guest needs to hear it. I would like to hear that as well.
Okay.
And then we have
Read the names though when you're saying it.
that was DL Sane.
Okay.
That was him again. Doc Hancock, $10. If you're arguing all the time and you're looking for peace, do you ever maybe think your husband would like you to be a little bit more submissive in a way? So that was a comment. If you wanna
Yeah,
respond.
I think there's a lot of submissive women out there.
Gotcha.
If that's what somebody wants.
Yeah. And then we have this
That's not
last
you
one.
though, Julz.
Let him know.
You're gonna learn today.
And then we have Slow and Fidel, $100. 60 fit, wealthy, and my woman in DR in Colombia blow you out the water. They're peaceful, respectful, super hot. They make morning coffee without drama. We are done with U.S. women. Done.
I make
All right.
morning coffee without the drama.
Yeah,
My
I know
coffee's
you do.
great.
I know you do. So those are some of the super chats. I just read those because sake of time.
Yes.
And then you want me to have my little rant about. So the little rant that I just have is I know we talked a little bit about hip hop and the culture and stuff like that. And I grew up in the culture of hip hop. I love hip hop. I've always had a passion for it. My mom wasn't really a fan of it because of the stuff that they talk about sometimes. And I just think it's important that, you know, like today I look at myself and my choice of music, and unfortunately hip hop is not the top of my charts anymore. Unfortunately, it's not the first thing that I go reach out for just because it's promoting a subconscious bad content. Like talking about like your WAP. Yes, I understand we're trying to empower women and we're supposed to, you know, push women into the sense of like being independent, but there comes a point where it becomes inappropriate and then you're promoting this type of persona, and men don't really want to have a woman that's exposed like that. You know, I know we talked a little about OnlyFans. Respect to the OnlyFans girls, but to be honest, I feel like OnlyFans, it yes, you're making money, but with the sacrifice of you're ruining your credibility and your personal, your private, you know, life. So for me, you know, as much as I love hip hop, I can still rap some of the stuff out here. Don't tell my mom.
Let him know. Let him know.
Don't
Nat.
tell my mom. But I think it's important that, you know, as content creators, especially in the hip hop industry and that culture, you know, be the change you want. I personally think the only way that whole community and this whole of, you know, black on black crime and all that, the only way it's going to go away is by setting an example within the community. You know, they don't want to hear from anybody else. They love to, when black people and the communities and even Jewish and white, when they are part of the winning team, they love it. They love it. You know, like, but when you're not part of the winning team and you're watching people win, that's where the hate comes. So I think a really big part of it is put yourself in a position to be a part of the winning team and be the change and impact in the world. That's my
And that's
my
rant.
Love
I still love
Amazing.
hip-hop. I
That's
still
not-
love it, but,
Okay.
you know, just change
By
it
the
up a
way,
little.
we're closing in on 100,000 subscribers.
Yes.
We started this channel, I don't know, 2 years ago. You know, the mothership is at, I don't know, 3.7 million right now.
Actually, it's collective. We're collective with all of our channels. We're hitting 5 million.
We're at 5
Over
million.
5 million.
Okay.
Yes.
But anyway, we appreciate you. We love you. Respect. Even the trolls, even the haters.
We love you, trolls.
Even the negative comments.
If you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping.
You keep
Yeah,
trolling,
that's
baby
right.
boy. You keep trolling. You talk shit about me. You talk shit about Nat, Julz, Steve.
Do
We
it.
love you anyway.
For you.
It's all good. Anyway, it's now the end of the show, and this is where Stevie and yesjulz get their time to shine throughout the show. This is what we call the happy ending. So let's bring it in for a second. Okay. Stevie knows what that's all about right now. Come on now. So, ladies first, Julz, you've got a camera right there. Your lovely face. Where are you? Look in the camera and tell people what you got going on, what they want you to know, what you want them to know,
Your closing
where they can
message.
find you, closing arguments, happy ending. Julz, go ahead.
Something's telling me to suggest that people listen to Thames. I think that there's a beautiful women with beautiful music out there right now.
love
And I
Thames.
just want to call attention to her album because it's really great and it reminds me of one of my all-time favorites, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which shaped my
Hard.
Love that.
childhood. I want to
Girls,
say
you know you better.
that
Watch out. Come on now.
okay. We
Sounds
need to
remix
karaoke
coming out
one of
there.
these nights.
Mixtape coming soon.
I want to say thank you for having me. I
course, Julz.
do want to say you made really great points, and you made really
Absolutely.
great points. Thank you so much. And you know, we're multidimensional human beings.
Yeah.
So my perspective, like I said, I explained where it comes from,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I'll continue to grow and learn and morph into the human I want to be every single day. So I'll say that with respect to everything that was said in this interview, and I'll say that I'm launching my own podcast, the Never Not Working podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Heads and Shoulders. Keep those commercials rolling for me. Need to promote my new products and cut the check. And yeah, so you guys could stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking to people who do what they love for a living because I'm all about, you know, just highlighting people who follow their joy. And I think once we continue to see more examples of that, more people will follow and believe that they too can do what they love for a living. And the world will just be a happier, better place. So
Awesome.
Tune in.
Put the link below so people know where to follow Julz and her new podcast. When is that launching?
Soon.
Keep your head and your shoulders
Yes.
tuned in. Okay.
You gotta use him.
Awesome.
Yeah,
All right.
funny.
Stevie Knight in the house, bro. It's been a pleasure. Go ahead. You got the camera. Let them know.
This was fun, man. This is dope. I guess the main thing I'll put out right now is just I'm here just like you are to place men in a better position, man. Like I said, men are struggling. Not even just from the content I see, but what really like influences me, affects me a lot is the dialogue I have with everybody from their comments, giving me their situations, their stories, like the inspiration I provide them, just the, you know, just positive light from the Night Talk channel specifically, man, because like even for me, I lived in my own little, I don't know, like 20% box. I wasn't exposed to what
Yeah.
men are actually going through day to day. And the majority, like how they say, men are invisible. Most men are visible to women. Like
Yeah.
most of those men are invisible to me. I wasn't, because birds of a feather flock together, right? So I wasn't around them. So
Right.
like when I can talk and reach out to those, like to see it actually happen in present day, that affects me, man. Like for real. So I just want to put it out there, man. Like none of y'all are alone, man. Y'all know to pull up, holler at me if y'all want some inspiration, something to motivate y'all. Just hit me up on my Night Talk shit. Stevie Knight for the music commentary, man. Appreciate y'all having me up here. That's all I
Of
got.
course. Stevie, thank you. Make
Yeah.
sure that we have all his channels below. Quick shout out to Deli in the house. He's been
Shout out to
quiet.
Deli. Deli
He
needs to
hasn't
go to
said
the bathroom.
anything.
Go Deli.
Deli's got to do his thing. But anyway, we appreciate you guys. You know, we do my show every Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow we have Destiny and his wife coming on. He's a major voice.
Yeah.
Talk about red pill. That guy's as blue pill as it gets.
Yeah.
I got a lot of questions for that guy. Subscribe, like. I don't know what do we tell him to do, Nat? What's the whole thing we want people
Make
to do?
sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share, and do that with all of our channels,
Yes.
but especially the Soscast, and get us to 100K because we've got
Thank you.
something good cooking.
Keep improving your status. You know, get those hot ladies out there. Women, get those hot boys out there. And as always, save that money. We out. We'll see you guys next time.
Deserve.
I know.